But Okta does CAPTCHA, right? It does the Google reCAPTCHA. And speaking of me being smarter than computers or vice versa, the CAPTCHA that I've been getting recently is select all the bridges. And it just shows me a bunch of highway overpasses. And I'm like, motherfucker, those aren't bridges. But it won't let me log in to my friggin' HR website because it wants me to identify freeway overpasses as bridges.
Well, think about it this way. You're making computer vision worse. You're actively undermining the AI apocalypse. So good job.
I'm John Connor now. Is that what you're saying?
Oh shit! But we need music that won't get us banned from Twitch. Actually, maybe we don't care. We're just putting it on YouTube. Oh, we don't want to get banned from YouTube either. The all-seeing, all-hearing ear of the MPAA is out there waiting for us.
We can cut the intro part out for the YouTube version of this stream.
Brilliant.
So what gets us banned from Twitch?
I think in real time you're okay, but they won't rebroadcast it, or they will auto-silence chunks of your video after the fact for like the video on demand.
Yes.
So really, that's fine.
I saw the greatest minds of my generation laid waste in a machine learning factory where all they did was learn how to like recognize copyright music and then edit it out of some teenager's video game stream. That's the culmination of all of their lifelong efforts.
Whew. Thank goodness we taught the machines to learn.
Yeah.
It's going really well for them.
Yeah. We're in the talking heads view right now because I just thought it'd be fun, but
it's a nice way to start.
Yeah, we can switch over to coding whenever we feel like it. Or we can just talk for the entire time.
Whenever we're ready, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna click the button. I'm clicking it.
Click the button.
I clicked it.
Boom.
Clicked it. What is that tank doing? It's freaking out.
It's just driving back and forth, having a good time. Yeah, this is pretty cool.
It's pretty rad.
Yeah, I like our synchronized tanking game. And I like that you can no longer drive out of the map.
Oh yes. This is
So
some
fancy.
offline hackery going on right here.
Yeah, I was largely curious just what it would take to turn this system back into something that worked, and the answer was like, not much.
Would you mind doing
Yeah.
Command Plus and bumping the font size up to what is probably on your display something that's like uncomfortably large?
It's uncomfortably large. I bumped it once, but twice is great.
But on my computer is nice and balmy.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I like it. It's like a hot tub that's like not too hot, and you're in Hawaii. That's how this font size feels to me.
Someday I will return to Hawaii.
Someday,
Someday,
I will
someday
return
travel.
to your shores.
Or maybe I'll just go quarantine there forever because it seems like a great place to do so.
So I have about 5 t-shirts, right?
Okay.
And I pretty much wear a t-shirt every day of my life now because, I like the most distance I cover in a typical day is like from my bedroom to my kitchen,
Pretty
which in
reasonable,
my apartment is not a short distance. I have to walk through the entire living room. And so I wear a t-shirt every day, and it's gotten to the point where like I'm sure my coworkers think I wear the exact same thing every single day. Similarly, I wear the same things I wear during the day when we get on stream. I do not like undergo the whole makeup routine, and there's no costume department yet.
Yet. Yeah, just you wait. Yeah, I think stream uniforms do sound like an order, though.
Yeah,
I think that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, a little bit. Yes. Yeah. I think probably what we should do for the stream is we each get T-shirts that have our respective faces from the logo. So I'll wear a face that has my face. I'll wear a shirt that has my face on it, and you'll wear a shirt that has your face on it. You following so far?
I'm with it. Yeah, it sounds great.
And then if we wanted to be ironic, to kind of throw a curveball, we could switch.
That would really mess people up, yeah.
Yeah. Or both of us could just wear your face, and it'd be kind of strange. And we just wouldn't address it. It'd be like really weird.
Oh, that logo is doing some heavy lifting for us. I'm a fan.
It's doing a lot of heavy lifting. I think we just like what did we pull random Facebook photos of us, right? And now it's like on every single one of our online profiles,
That's how it goes.
dig. Yeah, it's how it goes. It's how it needs to be.
It's been Super Nintendo, and that's all that really mattered to me. So
Yes. I'm gonna grab a Kleenex and proceed to subtly wipe my nose on
Do
live
it.
camera.
yeah, you gotta stay tidy. You gotta protect from the COVID. I'm really.
We had
should-
leftover Thai
game.
food tonight.
Oh, so spicy.
Yeah. Im Thai, downtown Berkeley,
It's
right next to
literally
Asha Tea House. That would be
my favorite.
that'd be a killer 1-2 punch, right?
It's my favorite Thai food
Yeah, it's good.
in all the Bay Area. Gosh, they're so delightful. I always get the pad kimao, and they really just like sear the heck out of it. And
Yeah.
like, I want my noodles to be seared, and it's
The
perfect.
leftovers are super smoky. You like microwave it, and you're just like, wow, this smells like the grill.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Oh.
That's good news that they're open.
Oh, they're gangbusters. I think they're probably one of the rare restaurants that's doing better than before because everyone's like, ordering it. And Cancun's same way, I think.
Oh, Cancun's been cleaning up, yeah.
Yeah.
And good for them. Those are two places I want to stay open. So, heck yeah. All right, cool. Well, we talked a little bit beforehand about what we were going to build today, and I forgot what it was going to be. It's going to be the bullet system. We're going to turn bullets back on. Oh, particle emitters.
Yeah. I think
We have a particle emitter
bullets
problem.
will be easier than particles.
That's definitely true.
Yeah.
But the bullet system definitely makes some particles happen.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the bullet mover, actually. This is the easy one, isn't it?
Yeah, bullets. Bullet moving is easy. We're not doing any damage though, right?
Right, and it's actually the shooter that is... Yeah, here's where the particle emitters are no longer emitting. Okay, okay.
One of these days we're gonna do something cool like music, or I don't know, a full real level. But that those days will never come.
I think actually we can, once we sort out a little bit more, I think we can get most of the game playing in the client server architecture.
Yeah.
This
Well-
this playfield system was very easy, so I'm hoping the rest of them are just like that.
Let me tell you something that would be fun. And despite what I said, I actually really like working on the multiplayer code. It feels like quite a challenging puzzle. What I think will be really cool is if we can get to a point where we can both be playing at the same time, right?
Ah, that'd be so cool.
Otherwise, we might have wasted our time, right? Like if we don't have the validation of like two people playing on the internet together, then perhaps the last 6 weeks of our lives, probably been more than 6 weeks, whatever.
What is time, man? Who
What-
knows?
It's true. It's a flat circle.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a little server work, but maybe not that much. Maybe not that much.
I don't think it'd be too bad.
Nah.
I like writing servers.
Well, that's good. we're gonna need the help. I like writing CSS. I like writing servers too.
Yeah.
I remember researching this in the past, and I was really sad that we couldn't use UDP in the browser.
Yeah. I
It's a
don't
real
know what
bummer.
people do. I think they just...
I think they just use UDP, but like don't make browser games.
Yeah, if this is an Electron app, we could use UDP.
That's true. We could also, the game could like start a local server that UDPs to the other local. Like we could have servers talk to each other and websites talk to local servers instantly. So that could be an option as well.
Okay, so the game is basically a Node.js app that runs and then opens your web browser. That's crazy. Although I kind of want the game to be able to run in the browser. That's not a hard and fast requirement, but it's nice to be able to deliver the code through the internet.
It's pretty cool. I like that we shipped this to itch and it just worked. So I feel ya.
People write like convincing, simplistic Counter-Strike clones for the browser. So I think that we can make do with TCP. And
I think
see
so.
what happens.
I think we just TCP or WebSocket in, or just deal with the latency and see what happens. Yeah. It won't be that bad.
Mm.
I mean, I actually haven't looked at this in a minute, but in our main, we're only 5 frames behind, but like, we haven't really done 20 yet, but it should work exactly the same. Yeah. Except that perhaps someone could throw a real wrench in the works. It's interesting that the tank, I would expect almost the other tank to move erratically the further out this got, because yeah, there we go. Oh, interesting. When we get too far from the server, we slow down a lot, maybe because we're actually reprocessing too many frames of input at a time.
Yes, 200 frames of input.
Interesting. Okay. But what is 60? 60 is a whole second delay. And so here's what's interesting. The other tank is always a second behind. And that's okay. It's just trying to catch up, I guess.
Oh, yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah, like it takes them 1 full second to start.
Yeah, and we're basically seeing it a second behind. Right?
That's correct. And you guys, it's really interesting because my FPS slows down the more inputs I put in here. And then starts creeping back up. Yeah.
And then what should a moving tank do? Should we predict their motion, or if we don't see input? Because like they're like a second client's motion is going to be lagged significantly with respect to an observing client, right?
Mm-hmm. But that is always the case, right? We don't really got a choice about that.
Yeah, but like after you know that they're moving, one thing you could do is just extrapolate their motion. Mm-hmm. But the problem is they will hop back if that prediction is incorrect.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Good times.
It's gonna be a challenge. Yep. All right. Well, let's keep simulating. So I'm just gonna turn on the bullet mover real quick. I think this will actually take just a second, but then we'll stop painting sprinkles on the board. And let's see. I see an entity manager, and that's it. I really like the way that SimState is named arguments, because actually you can just take like a chunk of it. And I've been passing the whole thing in and just sort of running with it.
We do need delta time though.
We need delta time. Okay, that's great. We've got that. Awesome. SimState.entity manager. And then I guess we're going to, this will be interesting, we're going to SimState.entity-manager. What is it? Checkpoint, thank you. Oh, maybe I should import it. There we go, checkpoint entity, e.id. Well, sure looks like it's shooting bullets now.
Nice.
Cool. All right, great.
And the mark for deletion works fine, right? This is the first time we've sort of simulated mark for deletion.
Mark for deletion works fine. That's a great question. We are going to...
We could delete it at the end of the simulation, right? The simulate function we'll call update. And update clears everything out.
Yeah.
But because we checkpointed it, it's still saved in the checkpoint, right?
Oh, and it gets restored to the checkpoint until we get to this frame again. Yeah, totally. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love it. Okay, cool. All right, well, that's one of them. Let's see how gnarly the particle emitters are.
Yeah.
So I guess this is no longer a thing. So we've got our code here. This is cool. What we don't have is a client to push stuff to. Do you think this belongs on the entity manager now?
I think either there is a kind of like observer pattern type thing where we emit events that say that here's the side effect that I want whatever receiver who cares to do something with, or we inject the client as an optional parameter.
Ah, okay.
But then we need to figure out how to do that for the second client, which is not actually drawing anything, right?
True.
And that's a main.tsx thing.
Ah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But this is actually in the... All right, so if we go to the client, we simulate... Oh, and then we actually do our emitters here. Really, the thing we don't want to do is when we reapply, like, the mouse click.
Wait, we never called render, right? On the second client? So
No,
it doesn't
we
matter.
don't.
So if they get particle emitters, it doesn't matter. I think it's fine.
Oh, that's true. We actually don't have to... It'll be client scope no matter what, though. It's still...
What about the server? The server shouldn't have particle emitters.
That's correct,
Shouldn't even try.
Correct.
I don't even think the server has an emitter array.
It does not, no. Yeah, it doesn't know anything about emitters. It runs simulate, which is cool.
Yep.
And I think I'm picking up what you're putting down, which is something in this simulate should register an emitter. And yeah, so if we were to think about this, maybe it's like register particle emitter muzzle flash, and then we want like the frame and potentially the entity ID, and that gives us enough to know not to recreate it twice. Like we don't want to like if we rerun the same frame 5 times through prediction, this will let us say, oh, we've already got one in our array with this data in it, so we're fine.
I mean, the same entity could probably create multiple particle emitters in the same frame, but I think this will be fine for now.
That would be hard for our current one, but yeah, you're right. It certainly could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe in the future when we hit that problem, we could consider like putting a key on here too if we wanted to register multiple at once. Okay, so the server simulation doesn't do anything with this. The client simulation could choose to. I've noticed that the app has multiple times given me a memory warning. I was unhappy about that, but...
Memory warning.
Yeah.
Are we leaking?
Quite possibly. Will Safari give me anything useful? Who knows? Oh, hey, that's cool. It does that in real time now. Very cute.
Were you getting the memory warning because you were shooting, or is it just because you were driving around?
I mean, it was popping up just kind of leaving it here. It didn't need any interaction, which is a little worrisome.
But also more easily repeatable.
Yes. Yeah, I think it was just let it run for a second. Now, can you even debug memory in Safari anymore? Who knows? I would have thought it'd be the timeline tab, but ain't no memory in here. Huh. That's too bad.
It's gotta be in there.
It really must.
The UI is really cool. I like how it's nice and clean.
Yeah, but is it too clean?
Do you think that they like have this tribunal in Apple where they're like they go over every single checkbox and they're like, does this absolutely need to be in here? Why?
I don't know.
And that's how the memory profiler got canned.
Hey, they added some cool shit in this one. All right.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I feel like something has.
Wow.
Something is,
No, this has a lot of extra stuff. It has like a WebRTC debugger. There's got to be some kind of memory debugger.
right. Also, like the experimental features tab has so much shit in it. This
Oh
is
yeah,
so
this
cool.
is they need that tribunal now. Like this is the opposite of what I was saying.
Exactly. And there's timeline recording. It's wild.
I mean, they have intelligent tracking prevention debug mode.
This develop menu does not mess around,
No.
except when it comes to actually showing me my memory usage. So,
I guess if you were
knows?
on the Safari team, you probably have just like a major chip on your shoulder, right? You're like, you know what? We're the underdog. We're gonna kick the shit out of you. You know, that kind of thing.
Probably so. I mean, they do have like their mobile browser is incredible, and they know it too.
Yeah.
Whoa, this is dope.
I like the speedometer view.
I like it a lot. Yeah, high CPU, short duration.
Energy impact. Wow, they're trying to save the rainforest.
They're trying to save.
Yeah.
They're trying to save your battery. Let's be real.
Okay.
They don't care about the rainforest.
All right.
Oh, this is interesting.
It's true. Like Tim Cook is just like right now pressing the bright blue invest button on like a palm oil plantation, you know? Right now.
This is very neat and kind of useless for what I want right now, but it's cool. Oh well.
I like it.
All right. Well, it's not giving me memory warnings too. It pops up a little bar at the top here that says like this page is using a lot of memory. So who knows?
Oh. So so it's narking on us basically.
Essentially, yeah, it's pretty rude.
Do we whatever register particle emitter is, you're thinking maybe we dependency inject that, like we pass it in, and it could be a stub for cases where we don't care.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Okay, I'm down.
Yeah.
Why not make it part of SimState?
Great point. Yeah, this will just be a. Well, we'll define the message in a second, but can I make this optional in this type? No, because this isn't the type. This is actually the thing.
We need to. Oh yes.
Wait.
Yeah.
Is that question mark valid?
That is valid. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Great. Let's bring that into the shooter. Still optional here. And then if simstate.register particle emitter, do all this jazz.
Yeah. We probably don't even need to instantiate muzzle flash if it's not inside the if block.
Oh, that's true. Great point. Sweet. Oh, and then it's just like the function you gave me is total nonsense. Actually, it's the wrong arguments, so great. I'm feeling really close to defining SimState as its own type, by the way.
I do like the idea that every simulation, every system says exactly what it needs rather than everything, but I could see how that would get.
We could do a TypeScript partial, right? We could do a partial that requests specific. Is that how that works? No, you actually have to choose. It's just some.
Yeah.
That's too bad. Yeah, I feel you though. It is nice. Wait, maybe it's TypeScript pick type? There's totally a way to do this. Yeah, you can do a pick type.
How does that work?
You specify the initial type and the keys you want, and then those are in scope.
Got it. And that is
nice,
better than just specifying the object.
Well, I was thinking it's not just the object. It's like this particle emitter function type is going to be like kind of gnarly.
Oh, I see. So it allows you to skip having to retype the type definition.
Right. We get to say we want a sim state that has entity manager and register particle emitter, and that's it.
Okay, I'm done.
So let's type export type sim state. No more interfaces. It's so weird.
So I posted in last week's show notes about the difference between type and interface, because it's actually become closer and closer to what interface is.
Oh, really? Okay.
The difference between the two are very narrow. I believe at this point you can extend a type. Because before you couldn't, so there was like no inheritance. And
okay.
And so now I think what it is TypeScript has a notion of a merged type or merged interface, where you can actually declare interface foobar in one file and give it one property, and then you can declare foobar in another file and give it a different property.
Right.
And if you happen to include both of those things, it'll treat foobar as if it was the union of those two things, or the intersection of them. With
interfaces. If you include both those interfaces, both those files with two interfaces, it merges the definition.
Yeah.
Oh, that's unexpected. And types don't do that.
So types are preferable to me, actually. I think the idea of just like only being able to define it once.
Absolutely. Good. Hey, I kind of like this syntax.
All right.
That's cute. Cannot find frame. Because we are on message.frame. Yeah. Great. Okay, that's kind of a cool little injection. I like that it gives us a few less types to work with up here too, because we get the entity manager and stuff rolled in via SimState.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So where we want to pass this function in is on simulate, and that's here. So we're going to pass in, we're going to inject our own version of, that's cool. And it's only this instance of the client version, right? Like it's nothing in sync server state.
Yeah. This should actually go into sync server state, because if another client shoots, then we want it to do this as well.
Oh, that's a great point, because this is only local messages. Oh, so we got to do it. We do it both times. Okay, sure. Great. That's here, and this is actually, it's actually only in the server messages one that will ever experience it, because this is replaying our input that happened here.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that this particle emitter will need to be, or this register particle emitter will actually need to be a bind or a lambda.
Yeah.
Because we want to make sure it retains this, right?
Man, binding. Yep.
Which unfortunately means you have to rewrite the type. Or no, you can just do .bind this, right?
Yeah. I think it's okay. It's just going to go in constructor. Let me define it, which is, I don't know, down here. This feels like a utility function. Yeah.
It's a lot like debug draw, actually.
It is a lot like debug draw. Returns void, but it actually takes, oh my god, return. Relax. But it takes a params that is, let me grab that out of the SimState type, because that's easier.
Yep.
Grumpy. None of these are used. That's why. And then in the constructor at the very end, I'll do the dependency. Injection binding. Man, at some point like 5 years ago, someone was just like, dependency injection is just the word for passing a thing into a thing, and we really just wanted a fancy word for it. I'm like, damn it. They were just like, Java programmers have been trying to make you feel dumb this whole time because they like passing things into things. I'm like, oh, fine.
Well, I don't know. A lot of programming languages just call some magical singleton or magical global variable. That's their dependency.
No, I agree that the pattern needs a name, but I was just like, Heroku really just liked using that word, and I was like, you're just trying to talk fancy about like your code that accepts a function. Like,
wasn't all of Heroku in Ruby?
You can dependency inject anything.
You can, but it seems like a very un-Ruby thing to do.
Yeah. We did some strange Ruby, and also we transitioned to JavaScript and
Go.
A little Go, but what's the Java that starts with an S?
Scala?
Scala.
Really?
Yeah.
It's Scala.
Yeah. They like Scala a lot there.
Oh, I wouldn't have guessed.
It had some internal champions. It got some footholds.
We have. I've been neglecting the chat. You know, I just don't have the instinct, even though it's sitting there right.
Ooh.
But Twitonio, who I'm guessing this is potentially my colleague Antonio.
Oh, hello.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Twitonio, but they recommend in Safari that edit button at the top of the network requests layout and rendering CPU list.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Twitonio.
Yes.
Christ.
Yeah, they haven't responded yet, so I'm sure they just dropped in the stream to dunk on you specifically. And yes, thank you, Twitonio.
Why?
Yeah.
Why would they not? Sorry, I have
How's
so
it going,
many
Antonio? I'm glad you confirmed. It's good to see you.
Hey, this is cool.
It's
love
very
it.
cool. Is the memory up and to the right? It looks like that red bar is going up.
A little bit. I only ran it for a couple frames.
Okay.
There we go. That's really great, actually.
Yeah.
Here we go. Memory. Man, this is actually an extremely cool little interface now.
How did they draw all this? What do you think they're using?
Can I inspect the web inspector?
This
No,
looks
I
pretty
mean,
native to me, right? Like, I think all of like Chrome DevTools is written in JavaScript. Right? How do you think they profile Chrome DevTools itself?
with like another Chrome instance, probably.
I think they probably do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
But this looks all native rendering.
call me a weirdo, but like Safari always just feels better to me.
That's cool.
Yeah, it has that native edge, and I know you can't see it, but like, you know when you do profiling in Chrome and it's like actually really slow, like it feels like it pauses the whole browser to profile. This is just like real time, like it actually feels like 30 to 60 frames per second, just like dropping stuff into this chart, like
yeah.
not even breaking a sweat.
I can't tell if we're consuming more memory over time. It does look like every once in a while there's like kind of like a step up. Is the purple thing getting bigger as well? Are those?
That's one of my questions that I'm about to attempt to answer. Oh my gosh, this is not how scroll bars work, Safari. I noticed that it actually does seem to. Oh, hey, that's a cool timeline view. So this definitely looks like growth to me, and I'm not really seeing it sawtooth its way back down to like a GC, which is a little annoying.
Yeah. That's cool. We're just leaking memory.
We're just leaking memory. Yeah. And I don't know what this JavaScript allocations tab is, but also cool.
I mean, that actually is really cool. That might tell us what we have a lot of functions. It wouldn't surprise me if that we were like leaking like lambdas that never return. You know.
I've been trying to do in not this code. I've been trying to think about like less inline lambdas because I know they're just like a huge performance issue if you run a thing at scale, right?
We were theorizing that the request animation frame pattern that we were using was just generating new lambdas infinitely. Right?
Oh, which super interesting. One of these had like a timer counter on it. Was it CPU? Yeah, check this out. Number of timers in this time period, which is fascinating to me.
Yeah, I mean, those set timeouts are growing quite rapidly. Wait, where are we using set timeout these days?
I think we have a set interval. Same thing.
Set timeout, is it literally implemented as, or is set interval literally implemented as a nested set timeout?
Yeah, and I think actually we took out. Oh, I thought we took out the interval and started doing a timeout, but maybe we flipped it the other direction. Regardless.
Who cares? We got money to burn, right?
Yeah, we got money and money and CPU.
We got your CPU and your memory and your GPU.
Yeah, it'll give us every line of code that we run this on, and it is in fact our set interval. So
that is
it's actually
awesome.
doing a really good job of reading
Yeah.
my TypeScript code here. I'm into it. All right, Safari 14, thumbs up. I like
I
it.
kind of want to know from beginning to end how long it took somebody to implement like source maps correctly, right? Because like there's probably
Man.
some HTTP header protocol about saying where the source maps are sitting, and like whatever the hell bundler, what parcel that we're using, like also serves the source maps from that location, and somebody had to like coordinate that in the world.
Dude, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
It seems really annoying. Okay, cool. So I wrote the function, or I didn't write the function. I defined it. I bound it to this. This is the right syntax, right?
It is. I have mixed feelings about replacing the prototype method with that, but it's fine. Whatever. It's cool.
Okay. What are your mixed feelings? Just that like we've immediately clobbered a core part of the class.
Yeah, we're like overwriting. I guess it's fine because technically it's the same type. I'm cool. Just don't. Just ignore me.
You got it. So let's see. I was just gonna, when I shoot, I should see some of this stuff, and I do.
That is cool. Why is it?
Oh, you know what? Because you can't see half my output. That's why. Yeah, it's
That's
an
okay.
emitter.
I feel good about this console.
Yeah, we've got frames. We've got the entity firing it, and there's no particles or potential particles
And
because the
there's a
emitter
shit
never
ton of
gets.
them because we're not deduplicating yet.
Yeah, we're logging every time this gets fired, which is thrice. Once in the client, once when it comes through the server message, and then once on the other client. So
That and also every single frame that it gets replayed on in both clients.
So I didn't put it in the replay. I didn't inject the function.
Oh, we haven't done it yet. No, but we did it above for the server messages.
Right, so it comes from the server, we don't replay it, and then we do handle it on the client, the frame it's fired on.
Go back to server state.
Yeah, totally. So it gets.
What about line 26?
This is the server message. So it gets run once per server message on each client. So that's 2 runs. And then in our client,
Oh, I see. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, in our client we run it once on the frame, so we see it twice. Fake client sees it once. This is
for a total of 3 times. Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
It's really starting to. God, this was already taxing the brain pan.
Yeah.
But cool. This is great. So.
So here's the question: is I think we should.
Yeah.
You go to sync server state. I think that it should go in on after line. Here is my rationale.
Okay. Position might change.
Yes. The whole
Yeah.
state of the game might be different by the time we get to line 37 than it was when we initially ran that piece of buffered input when it wasn't buffered and was like actually new input, right? And so it could be a totally new.
Right. It might be gone.
Yeah, it might be gone, and we may have new state, right? A new, and so
Okay. Yeah. I'll buy that.
yeah.
So now there should actually be like, yeah, that's more
So
like
this
it.
is terrible.
Oh, it's going to be fine because we know when the message gets replayed, we know exactly which one we're looking at, so we can.
Well,
This is going to be fine.
I think what I'm worried about. I need a piece of paper. Or I can just use like Notepad. I'm on Windows. I don't have any text editors here. Do I have Visual Studio Code? Visual. Oh yes, I do.
Okay, hang on. Let me really break this thing first.
Yeah. I want to see a ton of. I want to see like a bunch of broken particle emitters. That's.
I think. Well, here's the thing. I think this is 9 of our emitters running at once. Is it weird that they're now behind me?
Yeah.
That didn't happen in the old game.
No. This is definitely.
Wait, why didn't it? I'm moving forward. The emitter started back there. This should have happened in the old game. That looks good, but like, that's kind of to be expected, right?
Yeah. Why is it happening? Oh, it's because the server. We're receiving our own server message, 20 frames in the past, and then replaying the particle emitter, right, and reinstantiating it.
Oh, I see. So it's actually like a very short emitter that, in fact, continues to run much longer than it should.
Well,
like
that's a
full
little bit
third of a
confusing
second.
because like you would expect to see it twice.
But I got a thought, which is let's put it only local simulation. This only happens once when I press the button.
Okay, yeah, that's a great way of confirming. Still happening behind.
That's it. Yeah, but it's a much chiller emitter. I don't know if you can see. Here, let me see if I can get.
I
the
like my
difference.
emitters chill
Yeah.
with
So
restraint.
there's that, and then this one actually fires for like half a second longer.
Interesting. What is our? How far behind is the server right now? 5 frames.
It's only 5 frames, so half a second is
that
probably
what we're seeing?
hyperbole.
If you change that number to something higher, like
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's go to 20.
I'm not sure if it'll be visible here, but like we should see. Yeah, we should see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's cool. Okay. You know, I'm really concerned that the delta here makes the application take longer of an input.
That it's slower.
Yeah, it shouldn't. We shouldn't be like growing exponentially slower or even linearly slower because we have to process more. It's more of these. I guess the number of reapplications that happens every time is so much higher.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Hard to cheat that.
Yeah. We'll figure out how to optimize that.
We'll get there. Yeah. I accept this strange fact.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is just firing too many times, so that makes sense.
Yeah. Did our muzzle flash get more anemic, or did we?
We toned it down a while ago because it was a lot. Do you want it to be more?
It's fine. You know what it is? It's just like it's taking up approximately 1/2 of the area of my current display, as I'm watching this through OBS right now. And
Oh, you're getting tiny. Okay, well let's really
fine.
shoot this
It's-
muzzle flash out. There you go.
Okay.
Getting
Thank you,
bigger.
Thank you, Dominic.
Yeah, totally. I'm gonna un-night shift that. Was night shift coming through for you?
To be quite honest, I don't even remember. This looks identical to before, but like my senses are dulled to the ravages of time. So
If my screen wasn't bright orange, then maybe not.
yeah,
Okay, cool.
this webpage is using significant energy. I feel like
It's snitching on us.
Safari's now crossed into the realm of, yeah, it's a snitch.
It's a snitch. That's fine. Okay, I'm going to put this back to the extremely nice and chill muzzle flash. But don't forget, when we have explosions, the explosions are big.
It's true.
Um,
We did kind of like go crazy with like, you know, like I can't feel my face level particle emitters some 30 streams ago. So
it has been a hot minute. So I'm gonna turn this into a key string of particle emitter, and we're gonna drop them in indexed on frame and entity ID. Does that seem wild?
well, what are we actually trying to do?
I wanna only instantiate the emitter each specific emitter once. So like we're kind of collecting these from various sources and various messages, but I only want each entity to be able to emit a single emitter on its frame. And I know that's limited right now because we might want to do multiple emitters per frame in the future, but like right now it's like when we see it multiple times, we're like, I've already seen you. I know what's going on.
What if we had a set that contained the tuple of a frame and entity ID? And we use that to deduplicate, and that'll just make it easier, so you don't have to update the iteration for the particle.
I gotcha. Yeah. Tuple. Yeah. Tuple
or emitter history maybe is a good way of describing it.
That's a great one. Yeah. Because it's frame and ID.
I really hope that this works. That sets can work with the piece of data that we're throwing in there.
Oh, I think it's gonna work.
What do you think it does? Do you think it just JSONifies it? I wonder how. And then hashes the resulting string. I wonder what it does.
Oh, that's a good question. Because yeah, what does a set of an object look like? Yeah, we're about to find out.
Yep.
Cool.
Normally it's about hashing, right? In Java or whatever, they'll call it a hash set.
Here's an issue. The dead is not gonna make much sense anymore.
No,
I guess it is. Set is just gonna, yeah, okay.
What is gonna happen is that this history is gonna expand indefinitely, and probably want to cap it to a certain number of frames into the past. But I don't care about that problem right now.
Great, I concur. Yeah, that makes sense because we could. Yeah, we'll clean it up later. If let's see, this dot emitter history dot includes contains how do you check for existence? It has. Boy, these newfangled JavaScript libraries. Is that it?
Yeah.
Still doing it. Interesting. Yeah, that got pushed a lot. Oh, you know what I didn't do? Add it to the set. Whew. Forgot
it
one.
is an array, yeah.
One important facet of that code. Well, I thought that would have done it.
I would have thought so as well.
Do you want to change? I'm going to change this to a string real quick and see if, in fact, sets just don't believe in objects at all, or tuples, or yeah.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
I'm going to try it. I'm not convinced. Params.frame.
If you do $ curly brace and then put an object and then end curly brace, what does it get printed out as? Is it like
Object, object?
Object. Okay, yeah.
I think so, yeah. Ooh, that worked. Well, there's your answer. We just learned how tuples and sets work. Yeah.
I'm disappointed.
As am I, but you know what? Looks good. It's working good.
I'm actually disappointed that TypeScript let us do that. Like, I'm gonna Google this.
I'm doing it right now. Yeah. To MDN, future home of nothing.
Pour one out.
Value equality.
Value equality. So is that double equals?
Triple equals. In an earlier version, this was not based on the same algorithm.
All right. Triple equals. I'll
But-
take that.
It was just changed in ECMAScript 2015 to match. Whoa, specifically +0 and -0 were different values in old versions of sets. I hate that JavaScript has a -0.
It's IEEE whatever. It's just floating points, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good times.
They are times.
I think one's complement negative numbers also have -0 as well.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Let's see. What? I'm just doing this on my side. I'm just doing like a. Yeah, if you have arrays of identical contents, they do not triple equals each other.
No, two different objects. Yeah. And tuple,
they don't even
I
double
guess,
equals each other. Interesting.
That is interesting. I feel like the JavaScript tuple is a weird. Like TypeScript lets you do this, but it's not. It's not real. Yeah, you're making tiny arrays, but TypeScript lets you define tuple types, and that's slightly different. Okay.
It's a good.
Yeah. Hey Jeff, you just got a little quiet on me. Did you change the volume at all?
Oh.
Still pretty quiet. Yeah.
I'm actually.
Yeah, it's kind of. I thought you went underwater for a second and then you were drinking the glass, but now I'm not sure. Really? Huh. Delightful. Okay, so let's see. We've got our shooter system now type checks and registers particle emitters, which is delightful. What else is going on simulate? We are moving the bullets. We're clamping the playfield. I'm going to just turn the wall collider on. Let's just keep going and start making this game a little more back to gamey. Yeah. Sim state. Ooh. It's got it smart on the imports there. So let's see, everywhere we're using Entity Manager is now simstate.entityManager. And let's see, we only want to register things before. Oh, this is cool. Okay. We have our list of collided. You're still kind of quiet. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. Yeah, and this Zoom test speaker button is still very loud. Wow, I just noticed my input volume. Okay. My input volume is way down. I still sound good, right?
Sound good. Sure that. Oh, okay. Now I'm coming in.
You sound better.
And how about now?
Oh, much better.
That's weird, but you know what?
Not gonna fight it.
I'm not gonna fight it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know what fighting it even means. Like, maybe I could just restart my computer. I don't know.
Whew. Oh man, I'm really bouncing off of this wall.
Oh, this is Wall Collider?
Yeah, but I didn't snapshot anything yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's just taken some wild leaps about what to collide with.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And also frame rate dropped significantly.
Yeah, the Wall Collider is iterating over every single wall right now. We're not doing any kind of spatial partitioning. We are attempting to hit every wall in the entire game.
So let's see. Yeah, actually, it just sticks us right at 35 and we're kind of done. That's too bad. We've got this. Oh, you know what else is happening? We're 10 frames behind, going to 5. Oops. Well, buys me back some CPU, which is a little unfortunate.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with 10. 10 feels like it's actually inserting the right amount of performance issues.
Yeah. So, I think to back up a second, the performance issues that we're looking at right now are as a result of us sending inputs frame by frame and resimulating them frame by frame.
Correct.
Rather than sending flattened snapshots of server state.
Correct.
Yeah. And that is because we wanted a deterministic simulation. And that is ostensibly what we thought the Overwatch people were. And yet, I think as we're finding, resimulating the entire world multiple times per client frame, expensive.
Pretty gnarly, yeah.
It also doesn't help that we're doing it for 2 clients at the same time as well, and the server. So.
No, but I do have some expectation that like we're not doing too complex an operation to run
true.
Twice here.
Yeah, we're not doing like traveling
doable.
salesman with 1,000 nodes or anything, right?
No.
So.
There might be 1,000 nodes,
But not traveling salesman across them. Yeah.
Okay. No, not even close.
Yeah. Even that might be fine. I don't know the complexity of traveling salesman.
But yeah, removing this takes us right back up to 60 frames per second, which is useful. So yeah, before we start adding more systems, do you think we should tackle? Well, in fact, even our bad wall collider, like this is slowing us down, and that's fine. We can see it really clearly.
Yeah. Well, Wall Collider is by far the most expensive system, I think. No, well, the Damager will be as well, right? Because the Damager does sort of the same thing, where...
I'm gonna say I would bet Builder and Turret are both pretty expensive too, because they do line of sight and like pathfinding, and I feel like that's actually our most computationally intensive thing.
Does Turret iterate over every single entity?
I think it shoots array and tries to... It looks at a lot of stuff.
Yeah, okay.
It shoots array and does a ton of collision, so... And is it over every entity? Every entity that's shootable, yeah.
Yeah, and all the walls are all shootable, right?
The walls are all shootable.
Yeah, so I agree with you. And then the Builder is going to be running Dijkstra every frame, right?
Exactly.
Or A-Star.
So what can we do? And I feel like, yeah, it's really instinct server state. It's really this reapplication.
Yeah.
I was just gonna see our local message history really should just be like always 10. It's exactly. That's interesting. I bet one of. Hang on.
That's growing indefinitely?
Yes.
Are we printing the local message history? I forget.
That's a great question. We filter it here. We filter it here. We are not pruning. We should. Yeah, we probably should
we
clean this up.
that up. Yeah. Um, we basically can flush it after or above this, right? Like once we have the server snapshot, we can throw away all message history whose
Yep.
Frame is equal to or less than the server snapshot.
Sorry, we're filtering greater than or equal
Yes,
to.
filter not greater than or equal to, just greater than.
Just greater
The
than.
equal to
Right.
has already been.
It's happened.
Yeah.
Exactly. Cool. Okay.
Okay, that's a little more sane.
I feel a lot better about that, frankly.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, that's one memory
sweet.
leak down.
That's something. Yeah, that was probably growing a lot.
Yeah.
Interesting. And if
Not
I
gonna help.
turn, it's not gonna help the performance. If I turn the wall color back on, I'm still expecting. You know what's interesting? It got slower.
It got even slower.
Okay, we added a new operation, so I guess.
That should be like really freaking cheap, right?
I agree.
What a mystery.
Indeed. But actually, yeah, if I take this out, it runs about 10 frames faster.
What in the hell? Is it GC? Like what the heck?
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like this is a great time to start timelining some shit and seeing what's happening. There is a lot of full garbage collection happening here.
Yeah.
Ooh, and there's our memory dropping back down. That's nice. First time I've seen that happen.
Yeah.
But boy. Yeah, I got questions. I don't have answers. Okay. I should really learn how to read this graph better.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why it would be slower. But I guess, this is running, it's not just this, like, filter maybe isn't low cost, right? It runs this on every frame of it every time. So it's like not just one computation every
Yeah,
frame, but
that
like
array is 10 items long.
it's always 10 items or less, right? Yeah. Should be the express lane.
It's at most 10 items. Well, no, it's got one message for every like input event. So like driving is going to be one and shooting is going to be another. But still, it's like order of the delay between the server and the client, which is like big O of 10, or it's like proportional to the number 10, you know.
Yeah. Well, so this is, yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
And what's wild is it's at
the CPU cost of that is minuscule. The garbage collection cost potentially is not, because we're reallocating an array every single time.
Yeah, what's weird is that once I fire the bullets, I lose 20 frames per second instantly.
If you reload, is it 60?
Yeah, I'm at 60 right now. Moving is
drive.
okay.
And then you fire. Oh, the render you lose 20 frames per second.
No, the update. The render is still at 56.
Oh,
but
the update. Okay, got it.
Dropped to 30.
Sorry, I got
yeah.
those mixed up.
Oh, that's okay. Here, let's make that better for the stream too. So actually, like, does the shooter system have a problem? Is the emitter doing something weird? Let's see. Let's maybe start taking stuff out and seeing if we can at least identify something. Because with no particle emitters, same behavior.
So
And
the bullets are causing this?
the bullets seem to be causing this.
We're introducing more entities, which is more iteration, but it's not that many entities, right?
Correct. Yeah, it's interesting that we checkpoint the player here. Is that the wrong thing to checkpoint for shooting?
No, we're checkpointing the entity because e.shooter gets modified. Line 50, 51 and 52 immediately.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
Do we also need to checkpoint? We don't need to checkpoint make bullet because register does
Register
that for
does the
us?
checkpointing. Yeah.
It does uncommitted, which is
Yeah.
correct.
And then the bullets are being checkpointed as well.
The bullets never get checkpointed. And they don't need to because they become uncommitted, then come in via a server message and then are fine.
No, what I mean is the bullet update.
Ah, no, I don't. Oh, right. Sorry. That's the bullet system. Yes, we do checkpoint the bullets.
Okay, good.
Sorry, I totally forgot that. And if we don't, yeah, they end up going super fast and off into the wild blue yonder.
Yeah.
As expected. It's really weird to me that, like...
You know what would be cool?
Yeah.
I like console.log, but it's like, it slows everything down.
Yep.
What would be interesting would be to basically have stats D on this, or something like, I'm thinking too much like a backend developer right now. Some kind of telemetry where we could just say every time we shoot or gauge is what I want. I want to emit the size of the entity's array and watch it on a graph. Right.
Yep, that makes sense.
That's actually maybe something I'll look into. And I get a local like thing.
That would be really cool.
And then we'll have to deal with cores because it'll probably have to like send the data. To
Oh lordy,
domain.
yeah.
Oh, it's all localhost, right? But it's a different port, which I think means it's a different. Is that? How does it deal with ports? Ports are probably considered to be a different domain, right?
Ooh, that's probably true. So this is wild. Like, the wall collider is actually fine.
Are we checkpointing the wall collider?
We're not. That's why we have the strange behavior. So I was gonna say, what happens if I checkpoint it now?
Okay.
Because as long as I don't fire a bullet, we're golden.
Really? So it's the bullets that are slowing us down.
Yeah, it's like the wall collider is on. We're fine.
Oh, incredible.
It is, isn't it? It's a little weird.
Which is funny because the bullet system is so simple. You would have thought that was the issue, right?
I know, but this one entity creation just tears away our frames.
Weird.
It's pretty weird. Yeah.
That's a fun problem. I like
It is. We found a good one. I feel like we're kind of pulling on the core of this. So I don't think it's this. I feel fine about that. Why is... Oh, we're filtering because there could be multiple messages. Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with a couple frames of a hit by keeping the console open. If I shoot now, it should drop down to like 20. Yeah, it'll just keep dropping. Yeah. So we've got a nice baseline.
Yeah.
What? And actually, can I debug in this? I think I can. Oh yeah, we can get our debug going. What does it know about my TypeScript? Ah, it does. Okay, so yeah, it immediately hits checkpoint. And we should see this 5-ish times. 2, 3, 4. I would expect it to stop checkpointing at some point. Oh no, because it's
updating every single frame that it's.
Am I in the bullet? Yeah. Okay, so it's gonna update for a lot of frames. Never mind. That is just a lot.
Well, what we could do is look at the profile, sample the profile for a little while when we haven't fire it, and then when the frame rate gets down to 35 with no other inputs, sample
Profile
again, and then see. Can we get this? Can we get both of those profiles on the same screen, or do we need to like dump the profiles and compare them?
I think we can get them both on the same screen.
Or we
a
can
great
open
idea.
2 tabs
Whoa.
and compare them.
Well, let's record this.
This is at
I'm just driving around. Profiling is hurting it. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, well, we've already fired, right? So I think maybe we should reload.
That was fresh. I hadn't fired yet, but I'll
So
do
our
a
FPS
reload.
is already down at 30 for driving around?
With profiling on, yeah.
Okay.
Let me clear all this out and refresh this. Yeah, profiling is not doing any favors to this sucker. But all right, that's paused. So now if I go and start shooting stuff, oh, it's so slow. It's getting slower.
Okay,
And now
you
if I
said
start,
like when we stop shooting, the FPS will continue to go down.
it never recovers. Yeah.
But it's not actually much significantly lower than it was before with profiling. Right? It was like 15 when we started the frame.
That's correct. I think it went from like 20-ish to. So, wow, we're painting a lot of pixels, by the way.
That's so funny that it will paint the pixels outside of the visible frame.
Is
What?
that outside the visible frame, or is that just how many pixels are in a 673 by 994? Oh, that's just what's on the screen. Actually, there's a lot of pixels.
Okay, that's fine. That's not that big of an area.
No, I'm just surprised.
I mean, I don't know if it's engaging the GPU though. I don't think it knows how to. It might.
Mm-hmm.
Just depends on what the browser's doing.
Right.
At least it's not painting more than 700,000 pixels, right?
That would be weird. Yeah.
Because we have
Yeah,
more
yeah.
than 700,000 pixels worth of stuff.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I really need to learn how to read this a little better.
Okay. Well, let me actually recommend like a slightly different experiment.
Yeah.
So if we reload, and
Right.
well, actually, let's reload and not profile up front.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Oh. It just does this as long as you've got it open, huh?
Oh.
Interesting.
That is okay.
So this is us.
And so why are we at 40 FPS right now?
See, having DevTools open seems to take it down to from 60 to
having
40.
DevTools open at all. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's open DevTools and then open the profiler pane. And then, is it profiling?
Not yet.
Okay.
Want profile?
Yeah, let's profile. And that's good enough. Let's stop it. And then, I guess it's hard to open a second thing. Now just shoot. Don't drive. Just shoot one bullet. That's enough, right? And then now we've reached a new steady state, right? Can we profile now? Okay, and that's enough.
Yeah.
And then they don't have an actual profile view, right? They don't have like within this time which functions do we call them? Oh, they do.
It's doing start and stop snapshots.
What I'm interested is is there anything in CPU, like if you select the CPU row?
Oops.
And then if you fold open the threads tab right there,
No, it's just this diagram split out.
what I want is like sampled stacks. Doesn't really have that.
Should we just go to the Chrome?
Firefox is the only one that I know that does that view that I'm familiar with. But
Let's go to the Firefox.
right,
We've got all the browsers here. We might as well use them.
yeah.
Come on, Firefox. All right, so in DevTools, let me pop this sucker out. Nope.
And yeah, this is just neutral. So if you go to performance,
Hmm.
hit the little stopwatch sign.
You got it.
Okay, and that's it. We're good.
Cool.
Oh, what the hell is it doing?
What is this? What is looking?
Is that parcel?
I don't know, man.
If you inspect the frame, is that actually in the DOM right now? It must be, right?
I don't know.
At any rate, if you look at the profile, you go to call tree.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the call tree tab.
Mm-hmm.
So what this is saying is that like during that span that we profiled,
Mm-hmm.
21.37% of the time we were in DOM. 14.52% of the time we were in graphics. And this is just like in aggregate over that entire period that we were profiling.
This is freaking cool. We can see which systems used how much CPU.
What percentage of that entire timeline that we were sampled.
Okay, great. So I think what you're saying is if I shoot now and re-record, we should get something different?
Exactly.
Let's do it.
And then if you just like let go and then just let the frame rate go down because we know that that's the behavior. And then once the frame rate reaches a steady state, just profile again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The problem is we're going to probably lose this one that we just did, so it doesn't matter. Let's just do it.
Great.
Okay, and that's enough.
It's interesting.
Oh, it has 2 recordings. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's keeping recordings over here.
Yeah, okay. So what's different?
Interestingly, the frame rate recovered. So I think Safari is having a hard time. I want to do recording while I'm firing to really see what's up too.
Okay.
Just make a bunch of recordings. Very, very interesting.
Why is parcel required even there?
I mean, it's the time it's spending. Or why is it in this system? I don't know. That screams source maps to me. What the heck?
This is confusing.
Oh, you know what's interesting? So like I was saying the wall collisions are working, but bullets also collide with walls. So if I take this out, this was sort of our previous steady state, right? It was no wall collider. There's no drop.
I don't think bullets collide with walls. I think bullets hit walls because they're shootables, and then they die as a result.
Okay.
Because walls are shootables.
Because walls are... Right. So, man, are we just hitting like a strange thing where there's one too many systems going on? Ugh. Right, it's just the player. All right, I'm finding myself confused.
Mm-hmm. Well,
huh. I mean, I guess it's interesting. We're not doing this doesn't have our filter pattern. We're actually going in. This should be exactly the same as filter, except that we're doing it in a loop.
Yeah. It's fine.
Man. Yep.
And then why don't we checkpoint? Like at least that we know that will work and it probably shouldn't break anything, right?
Sure.
Where do we actually modify these things?
That's a great question. We do it in collided, so I think it's here.
Okay.
Or actually, let's see. Oops. we do our filtering collisions, and then we actually modify them right here.
Um,
And what is transform? It's entity. So we should actually. We only need to checkpoint if we enter this. So
yeah, but we'll do it multiple times if we hit. So it's kind of 6 of 1 half together.
right. Well, I was gonna say if collisions dot. Oh, come on. If collided dot length
Greater than 0.
Great. Yeah. Sim state entity manager dot checkpoint entity ID.
Okay.
And I turned off the wall collider. Oh, that's interesting.
That's Poppy.
Yeah, I thought that was gonna work. Um.
That is so interesting.
So let's transform. Cause yeah, we don't modify it until here, and we should have a new.
Really, right?
Yes, but when we do checkpoint entity, we're making a deep clone, but we have actually already. This is looking at an old entity. This is modifying the old entity. It's not the checkpointed one.
Wait, can you say that one more time?
Yeah. When we checkpoint, we make a deep clone of the entity. Oh, this is okay because we're cloning the old one and overwriting it, so it's okay that the wall collider modifies the one it has. Okay.
Yeah, that should be fine.
Damn.
So what behavior are we seeing right now?
We're seeing that when you hit a wall, you kind of slip all the way off to an edge. Are you able to see this?
I am able to see it.
Okay.
Um,
That's the most evident one for sure.
well, and I don't even know. It's funny because the checkpoint almost doesn't even need to happen here, because we already checkpointed this entity. We checkpointed it early in the frame when it moved into the wall, right?
In the tank mover, correct.
Yes.
So
Double
maybe no
checkpointing it shouldn't be a problem, though, right?
Well, no, because if it's checkpointed twice, we've deep cloned this object that some other system has already modified. Now, is it? Now, here's what's weird.
Yeah.
The mover, we checkpoint it. The mover moves it. No, it's fine.
I kind of know where you're going. The question, yeah.
Doesn't. Oh, and if it's already in there, we don't do anything. No,
Exactly.
you can checkpoint as many times as you want.
I'd be curious to know if we ever checkpoint it for the first time in the wall collider, and that's a problem. Because what we're checkpointing is a pre-resolved state of collision, right? We're basically checkpointing an entity that is inside a place where it shouldn't ever be. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, that's very interesting. That's true, right? That's true of anything here. So really shouldn't checkpoint. And then
I think in your really shouldn't checkpoint, it's going to always print that. I think what we need to do is check to see if the ID is inside the checkpoint list.
oh yeah, this is actually too noisy to even read. That's interesting actually. It's checkpointing. It's interesting that checkpoints the current player even when I'm not moving. Is that necessary?
What is checkpointing it? Do we know?
I assume the tank mover just checkpoints all tanks.
It shouldn't because there's no messages. Well, it's checkpointing it because yeah, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. Maybe what we're seeing is we're seeing the client, the other client's tank getting checkpointed twice, once locally and once.
But I'm seeing it's alternating between two IDs, which is really the ID should be the same across both, so I'd expect it to always.
Oh, you're saying it should be the same tank. It should be the same. Well, the IDs are incremental. Yes, they should be exactly the same.
Yeah, should be the same.
So it's basically checkpointing both tanks. Even though there's no... Is it the wall collider that's doing it?
No,
because we don't reach a collision.
Yeah, and it doesn't log that silly message. Huh.
Well, we can console log inside the tank mover.
I was gonna say I want to see if anything else is possibly.
Sure.
Oh, this is actually doing it. That's annoying. Here, let me take that out. And then if let's see. Yeah, it still slips. That's actually very interesting. The playfield clamper is, I guess if I drive off the edge now, it probably gets, no. This just doesn't need checkpointing at all. That's not correct.
But the playfield clamper should be checkpointing the entity. Like it's the last thing that runs in the simulation. So if the tank had moved in that same frame, then it would have gotten checkpointed at that point, right?
That's a good point. So it also really shouldn't need to do that.
Well,
I don't like depending on ordering for that, but yeah, that is interesting.
yeah, it should just be, we should checkpoint whenever we modify state. Like that should just be an easy thing to do, right?
Yeah, and here it's actually it's clear that 11 is the other tank moving. When I fire a bullet, that gets checkpointed. Interestingly, with two different IDs, because I think each system sees a different NC ID for the bullet. That's annoying. That's not good.
It should be identical, right?
Should be, yeah.
Especially because...
But it's alternating between 446 and 456 between the two systems.
So it's almost as if one client has 10 more entities than the other.
Uh-huh.
And that's from the very first bullet that you fired.
Yeah, I just fired one. Interesting. Well, and here's another interesting one. Oh, fuck.
What?
We start on 46.
Okay.
But then we recreate it 10 more times. And we get to 56. The other client only sees it once and is always on 46. But since we have a 10 frame delta, we are exactly 10 frames ahead of entity creation.
Do we ever rely on the fact that entity IDs are consistent across clients?
Ooh, I thought we were going to.
Because that is a problem.
That's a problem. But we could probably. I don't want to rely on this, but also just the uncommitted would be this dot next entity ID minus equals this dot uncommitted dot length dot length.
Yeah. Or it would be even clearer if we snapshotted the next entity ID value when we registered and then just copied it over, right? I think it'd be the equivalent effect.
Oh, I like that better. Yeah. This dot next entity snapshot equals 0. Oh, and it needs to be up here. So you're saying when we register.
Yeah, we basically put. I mean, we don't even need to. Yes, next entity.
We only want to.
Oh, it doesn't matter. We just set it here because it's going to get incremented, right?
But we want to know what it was before the checkpoint, right? Oh, we set it when we checkpoint. Sorry. Wait, fuck. Oh man.
What's your?
Where's the place where we accept the count of entities? Because we register. But when do we say we can increment our snapshot ID?
The snapshot ID we'd never increment. Oh, sorry. Yeah, because all we do is copy the next entity ID value, or so basically on line 77, the line after that, we would just do the snapshot is equal to next entity ID minus 1. Because this is just, we want to restore the entity creation state back to where it was before this entity got registered, right?
But what if I register like 2 entities in a frame? Like we both.
Oh, I
both think
see.
fire in frame 20. We're gonna.
Oh, I see what you're saying. We want to avoid clobbering it.
Yeah.
Maybe we'd say if maybe above this dot uncommitted dot add, we would say if this dot uncommitted is empty, then we set this.
I guess it could be minus this dot uncommitted dot length again. Size?
Well, if we're gonna do that, then I'd rather just subtract off the length of uncommitted when we either clear the checkpoint or restore the checkpoint.
I guess, I mean, like right now we do have a system where we can only create 1 entity per frame, so maybe it's okay.
I'd rather not rely on that. That is a thing that we're gonna forget about.
Great. I'm gonna do this. I think this is the. That's where I can imagine it working. It's a set. I was trying to figure out why TypeScript wouldn't complete that for me, and it's because they decided to change the word for length for their other object. And
then clear checkpoint should just set this dot. Sorry, we're not done. We need to like clear checkpoint needs to also clear next the snapshot.
Oh, we're not taking a snapshot anymore. We're subtracting the size.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's always good because we just don't.
Okay. Yeah. This makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and importantly, I see the same entity IDs.
Yes. Okay,
all over the place. It's too early for us to give up on that. I want that to be consistent.
Okay. Cool. That is a very good thing.
Okay, I feel good about that.
Still doesn't explain our popping, right?
It doesn't explain the popping.
And that only happens when we started checkpointing the wall collider?
No, it happened the whole time.
Oh, I see. So the checkpoint is irrelevant.
Yeah, and I think we know that too, which is really interesting. So actually I want to think about simulate for a second because like checkpoints the player, which means that like these two don't need to checkpoint the player because that's all they depend on. And it'd be weird if they could checkpoint the player because it'd be in the wrong state.
You know, it wouldn't be in the wrong state. Because what is checkpointing but saying, like, we're trying to record the state of the entity when the frame started. That's all it's trying to say. And so as long as we're diligent about checkpointing every entity when it gets modified by any system,
It should be totally safe.
it should be totally safe. You should be at the exact same state by the time that frame starts.
Yeah. And I can imagine a situation where the player was pushed into a wall by an explosion in the future. But the thing that pushed it also should have checkpointed it.
And it should have been checkpointed before it got pushed. So, and then the simulation should just run and it should deterministically just get pushed in the exact same way, right?
Yeah, so it's weird. It feels kind of performative to checkpoint here, even though we know it's not necessary.
Yeah, it's not a performance issue because we deduplicate, right?
But it's not a performance issue, yeah.
And it's also not wrong because inside the wall collider, we don't know about the ordering of the systems, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
But it still snaps, and that's really weird. Nothing in here uses game. Oh, I want it. I'm going to use my TypeScript. Do you not like that?
Let me say comma.
Is it comma? Oh, it's sorry,
pipe
yeah.
Between the
pipe between the types.
Yeah.
There you go. It's so weird.
Is there a way that we can... What happens if we set the frame delay between server and client to 1?
That's a great question. Oops. Things are a lot faster. We still snap. And it's interesting. We're always jumping to the bottom.
Does debug draw work?
No,
We disabled it. Yeah.
But could it? Oh, wait a minute. We disabled it, but do we actually need to? Because debug draw is the frame counter. What is the wall collider not? Oh, we lost debug draw for like our renderables a while ago, didn't we? Crud.
Did we? What did we have? I thought. What was our debug draw for? Oh, it was all for all renderables. Is that right?
Something like that. It was. I think it was actually the wall itself knew when there was a wall entity. It like had its own debug draw. Does Get Renderables know about that?
No. I thought it was the wall collision system, but I think the tank had a little thing. Is that correct?
The player? Oops. The player entity. Nothing debuggy in here either. How do we do this?
Is it in the client render? Well, why don't we do a find references on debug draw? That's probably the easiest thing.
Oh, right, because this is a function that we pass around. Even bet. Do we not use it? Is it gone?
Guess we blew it away.
Huh. How did that happen?
I don't know. Maybe I don't trust TypeScript. Can you do...
yeah.
Can you just search for debug draw, open parentheses?
Yeah. There we go.
There we go.
Damageable.
Yeah, so that system's not getting updated right now.
I'll turn the damageable on. Let's do it. I would turn damageable on and wall collider off to I feel like
Well, this isn't gonna help us at all. Like the whole
I
point.
know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. I think the only reason why I cared is I just wanted to see the geometry, but I realized it was part of damageable and it didn't matter.
Well, let's debug draw the bounding box for the wall. I'll bring that function over to the collider. This we can do.
As long as the bounding box is representative of what the rest of that collision code does. I don't actually know.
Well, I just say we've got the
And the wall
we've
collider
got
system.
I'm curious what the wall box is, and we've got that here at least, right?
Yeah, and the problem is we're gonna. This is getting called on the entity that can collide. So we really want to call this on the the thing you can collide against. So we want to call this once per wall, basically. And that's
That's what wall box is.
yeah, but this whole function is gonna get called.
Oh, like a million times.
This is not
yeah.
this is not the right place to call it because like for example
bummer.
we have line 13 and line 23, right? Yeah.
Okay.
We could put it in the wall. We don't have a wall system, right? We don't have like a system that just updates the walls once per frame.
No, but we could make one, I guess.
Or in the client render, we would just iterate over. You would just add it there.
That might be easier because one thing I'm noticing in SimState is that we have no way to pass debug draw in right now. We could inject it, but
Yeah, I would probably inject it.
but I guess that we could just debug draw every. Or you want to just see it drawn for every wall here? We can do it.
Yeah, we can even do it in the update, right? I think debug draw can go anywhere. It just gets enqueued.
Let's do it. And really, this is going to be this dot entity manager dot filter e dot wall dot map this dot debug draw. And then what do we have? We've got a primitive of primitive dot rect. Looking good. Yes, you've got any type. Oh god, is this dot entities? Yeah.
And it's a key value map, so you have to do underscore values or something. Object values.
Oh, can I do that? Great. Yep, totally. Right, because I don't care about the keys at all here. Cool. And then what do our recs have?
Let's pull that off of wall collider,
Damageable.
maybe?
This sucker? Yeah, there we go. And this is e.transform.position and it's just tile size? How are we getting this size of these?
Let's go to the wall collider code. That'll tell us exactly what calculation it's using.
Okay.
The wall box is a tile box of the position.
Tile box. Okay, great. And it returns. We want this draws in dimensions, and this
Okay,
is.
so it's just tile size. Yeah.
It's just tile size too.
It's a
Yeah.
vec2 of tile size.
Need to be vec2. Probably needs to be vec2.
It's okay. I think that actually works in TypeScript.
I've seen it survive, which is nice. Yeah. And primitive. Am I tripping?
Is it not imported? Primitive.rect.
Primitive.text is here.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So, first of all, what I would recommend is doing this.debug draw outside of on line 296. This.debug draw. And then you pass in a lambda that returns an array of things. So,
Gotcha. Yep.
and then you can just pass in that whole filter, or just the map, and then on line 301 get rid of this.debug.
Right.
And you probably need the parentheses, or else it's gonna get confused. And then I would move this whole block above this, because
Yeah.
we're at the end of the render, and I think what we want is
One in here.
yeah. And the position is center, so we need to offset it by
Right, because that's what Tilebox is doing. Yep.
so we just do a vec2.subtract
Yeah.
on line 270.
Boy, we haven't been in Vec2 world in a hot minute, have we?
We haven't, yeah. But the instincts are still there, I can see.
Oh yeah.
This is one area where I really think C++ is nice, is operator overloading. You can just like overload it like plus and minus, like basic math stuff for vectors.
Yeah, that would be really nice. Okay, cool.
What is
as
that
expected.
little ghost thing in the lower right corner of your browser? That purple 0.
Dude, I don't. Whoa, whoa,
What
whoa.
in friggin' hell is that?
It's looking for trackers.
Oh, you have like an extension. I get it now.
I must.
That was
But-
that weird purple thing at the top of the
Is it Ghost Tree?
Is that a VPN? What is this?
No, it's just it's supposed to be an ad blocker, but they got kind of. There we go. Get out of here, Ghost Tree.
Yeah.
That explains that. Okay, so debug draw.
So I don't know how much that got us, but now we have cool cyan outlines on our walls.
Hey, it's nice to come home again.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Right.
Oh man, the brain's a little lost.
Yeah. It's also funny that our debug draw code is the way it is right now, because if you look at it, the whole reason why we pass lambdas into this .debug draw is because it handles the if statement for you, and yet we have the if statement there anyways.
Yep.
Okay. So we're only one frame behind the server. I guess the
Correct.
reason why I ask is like I'm trying to see if we can coax our current architecture into simulating no prediction at all, right?
Can we be 0 frames behind the server?
What I worry about there is that we're not sure when the client frame is going to run and when the server frame is going to run. But let's try it.
Ooh, guess what doesn't work? Whoa. That's pretty cool though.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Oh no, it's foaming at the mouth, the tank.
Yeah, exactly. It's firing as fast as it can.
Yeah, it's like one of those little sparklers, is it? Is that what you call it?
Yep. So yeah, so this is
Sparklers and Jimmies. That's what the show is all about.
Okay, so yeah, so this is as close as we can get to the metal.
But you know, I think any prediction is like way more than 0, right? Because I want to know what is it about the prediction that's causing this to fail? Is it that when we
Yeah.
deep clone floating point numbers, it is not bit for bit accurate, and it is getting truncated or rounded somewhere? Is it that we are snapshotting some form of intermediate state that, in other words, we're not actually snapshotting the state of the entity at the beginning of the frame?
Yeah.
Another thing we could try. Well, first of all, we could load. If performance is a concern to us at all, we can load the small map with only one. Um, with only one player, and
True.
we could checkpoint every single entity. We could checkpoint the player at the beginning of every frame, regardless.
Well, as it seems kind of silly, but like, shouldn't we just checkpoint the player every frame anyway? Like, it's like the high cost was checkpointing everything, but we can just deep clone one object every frame.
Yeah, but the player is not the only thing we're gonna have to checkpoint. So
It's true, but I guess it feels like a nice constant cost where it's just like the player always is correct.
it's not a constant cost because the real cost is intellectual. The real cost is us having to remember to call a checkpoint everywhere, and we have
Except
to
for the
do
player.
that
Yeah.
for all other entities. And so the bullets, for example. And so if we don't do it for one of the entities, that's even more complicated, right?
It's weird. Yeah. That's totally fair.
Is it popping when we get to a certain part of the wall?
It seems to be any collision,
Any collision.
and it always drops it. I feel like it's something is like if I collide up here, it's gonna take me down to this bottom corner.
Yeah.
It's always bottom, as far down to the bottom right as it can take me.
Okay. Can we potentially log if and when we do need to resolve a collision? Can we, and we know that because we checkpoint at that point, right? Can we console log the starting position and the end position?
Yes. So we want to log console.log e.transform.position. And I'm going to log out the actual values here to try to not have it updated.
Good.
So really, we just expect to see that twice.
Um,
Oh, lordy. Oh, that's interesting.
we're not
Yep,
colliding
yep,
at all
yep.
at this point, right?
Honestly, none of this should run if there. This code should have been inside a block like this in the first place.
Well, I mean, I think it was just that the thing above is like a map, and you know that, or a for each, and it just won't ever run more than once. But I
that's
agree with you.
fair.
I agree with you.
Sorry, something has just crashed really hard. It seems like Firefox.
Ugh.
Get out of here.
We could go back to Safari if you'd like. We're off the profiling kick.
That's okay. So I tapped the wall.
Uh-huh.
And interestingly, I'm colliding with east, south, and east. Well, no, I was colliding with like this side, so I basically collided with these two edges.
Yeah. And then do we see in there where the dramatic change happens?
I see. Let's see if this
That's
is
a very
started.
small change, right? That initial pair.
This is negative. This is like a full tile down from 63 to 35.
Oh, that's a full tile down.
Yeah, and then interestingly, we get this one that is a bump back east. So it's
So it feels like the collision code is just bad. This doesn't seem like a multiplayer problem.
I guess not, but it worked before multiplayer. But it was we kind of knew this was a little funky, right? We had a
We
sense.
did. Can you open up the console log again?
Yeah. Oops.
And then I just want to see that one more time.
I'm gonna go for an even more dramatic one. Oof.
Yeah. So that is within
That's wrong.
that's within the space of like one simulation, right? It has nothing to do with the fact that we are in a network scenario. So it seems like the code just broke at some point invisibly, and because we have no regression testing, that was just going to happen. Right?
Now, is it possible that it's related? Like, Wall Collider is actually being run quite a few times now. Like many more than it was before, and in fact, like our starting position, we see it go forward to the -107. We get jumped backwards. Yeah. Interesting. But I feel very confident seeing I approach this from the west. There's not a single east that should have shown up here, so something definitely feels wrong. So yeah,
and what does east mean? Is it the east side of the wall or the east side of the wall collider?
It's supposed to be the east edge of the wall, because we're saying you hit the east, so we know to impulse the other direction.
Okay.
So I was gonna say it's maybe supports your reasonable hypothesis that in fact something just subtly broke a while ago and we missed it.
So how do we know what the east edge is? And
Right.
did our entity spawning in this multiplayer world potentially break?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Previous box. So this is interesting. We're looking at the position. We're looking at the previous position of the.
We're not updating the transform system.
Oh. Oh shit. Great. We probably needed this one, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay.
This one's subtle. Like, this system does almost nothing, and it's like really easy for it to kind of like just chill in a weird location. Yeah.
Boy, that you got me. Yeah.
And does this mean we have to checkpoint every single entity if the transform has changed?
Oh, I hate it.
I don't like it either.
Maybe we can we say if vec2 dot equal, if not vec2 dot equals transform in previous position, we do it so only moving objects.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And honestly, if it's moving, we're probably checkpointing it anyway from some other system. So I think this is safe.
This is subtle because basically if it moved last frame, we're going to checkpoint it this frame.
True.
Yeah, but that's fine. That's okay.
Yeah, it's exactly as in-performant as it was last frame. Probably, maybe a little worse.
Yeah, we're just basically saying we're adding a constant checkpoint cost to every move. Instead of 1 frame's worth of checkpoint, it's 2 frames.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Totally okay with that. I'm gonna only assign this here as well because, like, I don't know, why not? That's the modification.
I'm trying to think here though.
Because if it never moves, it's fine. And then we just vec2.clone a bunch of things unnecessarily.
If they're equal to each other, yes, then we don't need to assign them. Okay, I think I'm convinced of this. And so then now in simulate, we just need to call the. Where did we transform? Where did we update the transform system?
Ooh, we ran this only in the server, Jeff. Oh no. Why did we do this? You know what? I think it goes right in the start of simulate.
I think
this is
too.
nonsense. Yeah. You know what it is? We needed that to run. It's weird that the game keeps running even though I just deleted that.
Yeah.
I've got questions.
I think it should be in running, but I don't really know. Does it work?
It works fine.
Shit.
So I was gonna say not in running because we have bullets that keep going.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see. Yep, I agree.
This is a permanent thing. Um, what the? Well, you know what? One more system down.
Do you feel slightly unclean? Like, I feel... You know what it is? I think it's the cumulative cognitive overhead that we've added to ourselves. Like, this whole checkpointing system is really hard to reason about. We have to just know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel kind of dumb. I'm right there.
You're not.
I mean, I'm smarter than a computer and also dumber than a computer at the same time. Okay, wait. So this is really interesting. And now
Wait, Dom, do you use Okta at work?
I do.
So...
How did you know that?
I'm just asking, because everybody uses Okta, right?
I've never heard of it until I started this job.
Did we not use Okta at Chain?
Oh God, no.
What?
Hey, we just made a bunch of our own accounts. We were just.
Oh, you know, I think we
winging
used
it.
Okta at IFT. And IFT was a similar size to Chain. Anyways, I'm going to stop playing with the armrest on my chair. But where I was going with that is that Okta does CAPTCHA, right? It does the Google reCAPTCHA. And speaking of me being smarter than computers or vice versa, the CAPTCHA that I've been getting recently is select all the bridges. And it just shows me a bunch of highway overpasses. And I'm like, motherfucker, those aren't bridges. But it won't let me log in to my friggin' HR website because it wants me to identify freeway overpasses as bridges.
Well, think about it this way: you're making computer vision worse. You're actively undermining the AI apocalypse. So
So
good job.
I'm John Connor now. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you're going to teach the Terminators that what they think are bridges are in fact overpasses. They'll get lost.
Overpasses are bridges if you are like 4 years old, right?
I mean, is it not a bridge? It's just a bridge to nowhere.
I guess it's a bridge over. You're right. Maybe it's just a bridge.
It's a gosh darn elevated roadway.
Yeah, it's a bridge between a pylon and another pylon. So the game kind of rules now, right? It rules again.
Yeah, you know, every time we fix a little thing, it's back to awesome. That's all I really wanted.
Yeah.
Oh man, these bullets feel gnarly.
There's still something that's killing our performance when we shoot a bullet, right?
It's still bullets, yeah. Yeah, you should try this on your machine later, but you can really fill it with each bullet. We make you feel the bullet. It's like the haptic feedback just reverberates through the screen. Yeah.
What happens if we set simulated client frame to N?
But not the client frame?
I'm scared. I mean, it's fine, but I kind of want to know what this looks like.
Yeah.
Because like,
if we do 60, we'll get the weird thing where this tank doesn't start moving. Seems fine.
It seems okay. How does the server know? Oh, the server's always going to be behind, right? Unless simulated client frame is -5, which technically it can't be. I don't think it's going to work if it's negative. Like the simulated client is never going to be behind
right.
the server. Okay.
It can't fall behind.
Because
yeah.
we're not. The reason why I had a sudden moment there was that I was worried that we weren't buffering on the server side. You know how we have this buffer thing where we're gonna wait for the clients to send us input.
Oh yeah, but we do, don't we? Oh, sorry, I cut you off. You want?
No, I don't think we do because the way that we've arranged the frame indices is that
I thought it was. Oh shit! Where do we? Oh, it's because we just push onto the client messages. The clients just drop as many messages in there as we want, and then we collate into server message for a frame.
Yeah, and then what will happen is if the client message is behind the server message, the server will just never see it, basically. Or if the client message frame is behind the server frame, the active server frame, the server basically says that, yeah, actually, that never happened. You thought it happened, but it never happened. Which is fine. Our system knows how to resolve it. We just don't know how to. We can't simulate it right now because of the way we wrote this. However, if we went into main.tsx and we set server frame to 5, yeah, exactly, then all hell would break loose, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we are in pure prediction.
We're moving, right? We're not getting snapped back, which is interesting.
That is interesting, actually.
It is very interesting. We were in the land of pure prediction. That was the phrase. Right?
That was the phrase. It could be the phrase today.
Okay.
We should stop. It's the time. I feel like this. I'm just gonna put a linear slowdown dependent on the number of frames different or number of frames behind head of the server. Something about this gives me pause, and gives the game pause too.
Puts on sunglasses and stream. And with that, I'm going to end the stream. Seriously,
Sounds great.
Now. Okay.
That was a weird
Dom,
one.
I'm going to end it. Stop talking.
See ya.
All right.
No.
Dom.
Bye.
I'm going to end it.